A big part of being a gamer is choosing which console or multiple consoles you want to own. So on the internet, we have these things called console wars, and there's people that say, hey, console wars are dumb. Everyone just buy whatever you like. There's no reason to compare and all these things. But, we've seen even Xbox, Phil Spencer and, other heads of Xbox or even Sony like saying, hey, I like playing PlayStation. I can't wait to play God of War, stuff like that. But after this Microsoft acquisition of Activision-Blizzard, which is supposed to be happening hopefully this year or going into next year, now Sony's starting to kind of push back on that, saying it's going to cause a monopoly and things like that. So we're going to go through two different articles, just going over like Microsoft and Sony going back and forth over this acquisition. So more specifically over Call of Duty. So this is from the Washington Post. So in January, Microsoft announced its intention to buy Call of Duty publisher Activision-Blizzard for $68.7 billion. So the Federal Trade Commission has been scrutinizing the deal in the United States, and Brazil has placed Microsoft under review. So when Brazil right now, when they're having this review to say, like, is this fair? Is it going to cause a monopoly? Is it just a potential issue as far as the video game industry and business wise goes? They had 11 different video game companies come and vote and say, like, is this fair or not? So they had, Warner Brothers, EA, Ubisoft, all these different companies. And out of all 11 of them, only Sony objected to it. So one of the main things that Sony was trying to say was that, this could cause a monopoly specifically because of Call of Duty. And it's just funny because, a lot of people are saying when Microsoft bought Bethesda, was that an issue? Like, they're buying up all these, third parties and making a lot of their games exclusive and things like that. And it's like, honestly, if these deals are going through, it's there are committees put together to stop these things from happening. Maybe they're not as informed, but Microsoft's biggest thing right now is to push their Game Pass service. To have a Game Pass service, just like Netflix and Hulu and all these things, you need content on there. So in order to do that, you have to buy up these studios and make sure you have compelling content to make people want to not just buy your, system, but also to buy into your subscription service. So while all this is happening, Sony wasn't saying anything. But then when it comes to Call of Duty, if you guys don't know, Sony has the exclusive marketing rights to Call of Duty every year for the past, I'd say at least decade, at least since the PS4 has been out. So while Call of Duty is a multi-platform game, people associate it with PlayStation just because they get the marketing rights to it. I remember even in high school, they would get the DLC, they would get it a month early or something like that, which doesn't sound that big of a deal, but for people that are hardcore Call of Duty players, that's a big deal. So now that this has a potential to go through, Sony's they're trying to throw, different wording on Call of Duty and saying that this causes a monopoly, because Call of Duty isn't just a game, it's like a whole other genre in and of itself. And I understand what they're saying. So in the article, it says Call of Duty has sold over 425 million copies in its lifetime, just the game. And then when you bring in marketing, different sponsorships and DLC, all that kind of stuff, it's generated $30 billion in revenue for Activision, which is insane. And Call of Duty comes out every single year. Every year it comes out, whether it's good or bad, it's going to be a top selling game. And then to compare it, they say Battlefield, which doesn't come out every year, but it's the next closest franchise to it. It sold roughly 88 million copies. So 425 million compared to 88 million, it's not even close. And I see both sides of it, but it's we can't say, hey, if you own it, they paid for it, went through the proper channels and all that. Now they're a monopoly because so many people spend money on it. A lot of people like whatever console they have. Yeah, the casual gamer may just associate it with PlayStation, but it's like they've done it for that long. If they have the system already, they're going to buy the game on that system. They're not, most people aren't willing to change completely over, get a new system, got to learn the UI, got to get their new friends on there who they want to play with. That's the other side of it. If you and all your friends don't switch over, then that's not going to happen. It's just what they're accustomed to playing. Will people switch over for Call of Duty? I'm sure they will. And that's the point of them getting it. But I mean, I think Sony's kind of just like, they see the amount of money they're going to lose with it, and it's just getting crazy. So then there's another article, and Microsoft is pretty much saying that Sony's paying developers to keep games off of Game Pass. So it's honestly it's kind of the same thing. Like, they're both just throwing things, throwing shots back and forth. So as we get closer to this deal, like, Microsoft's trying to make sure like this deal goes through no matter what. So Microsoft appears to have found incongruity in Sony's comment about, them saying that, Call of Duty is just like a franchise all of its own. You can't compare it to any other video game. So they're saying the company sent a 27-page document to the CADE, that was that Brazil's Council for Economic Defense, where they had the 11 companies to come speak about the deal. So it says, considering that exclusivity strategies have been at the core of Sony's strategy to strengthen its presence in the games industry, and that Sony is a leader in the distribution of digital games, Sony's concern with possible exclusivity of Activision's content is incoherent, to say the least. Indeed, Microsoft's ability to continue expanding Game Pass has been obstructed by Sony's desire to inhibit such growth. Sony paying for blocking rights to prevent developers from adding content to Game Pass and other competing streaming services or subscription services. So it says here, Microsoft's assertion that Sony pays developers to keep their games away from Game Pass is a bold one, but it appears to be well-founded. A screenshot of court documents from last year's Epic Games versus Apple lawsuit reveals that Sony pays developers to keep their games exclusive to PlayStation subscription services for variable periods of time. During the negotiated period, developers are explicitly prohibited from including their games on competitive platforms, including Microsoft's Game Pass and Google Stadia Pro. So my problem with Microsoft saying this, and I have all the systems, but I'm definitely a Microsoft fan, Xbox fan at heart. The problem with them saying this is like they're both just saying like what everybody already knows. Like, there's a reason there are exclusives, whether it's third party or first party. You want people to come over to your ecosystem, to your system, to buy into your business. So to say, hey, they're paying for exclusive rights, and we've seen that all the time. They have timed exclusives. Deathloop was a timed exclusive. I think Final Fantasy VII Remake is, I don't know if it's a timed exclusive or it's just going to be exclusive on PlayStation, but like, that's not a new thing. There's a reason you have exclusives, since video games have existed. So, people kind of like taking sides on this. It's like, are saying like, oh, this is bad, or it's going to cause monopoly and things like that. It's like, we can't feel like that as soon as, this Call of Duty situation comes about. Like, some people were saying it when Xbox was buying up, Bethesda and all these other studios, but it's like, now we're saying like, oh, you guys are just paying for games to only be on your system. Like, that's the point. Like, big bank take little bank. Like, you need to make it compelling for you to have exclusives, and then that draws competition. Now, other people are either going to buy other studios or push the studios they already have to make better video games. And I don't understand, I don't know. I mean, I think Sony just, they're not nearly as big of a company as Microsoft, as much as, the PlayStation sells compared to the Xbox. The company as a whole are just completely different levels of money and size and influence. But, you know, as far as the regular people just talking about this as if like this is some absurd situation and exclusives are bad. It's like there's a reason you pick your system. Like some people had the PlayStation 1, some people had the N64, some people had the Xbox 360, some people had the PlayStation 3. Like that's just how it goes. You don't, no one's saying like, oh, Nintendo needs to put Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 on the Xbox Series X next year. Like, that's not how it works. I get it's different with third parties, but it is what it is. Companies, they're a third party, they can choose whether they want to be on the system or not. If you pay them and they say, oh yeah, sure, that's fine, that works, that company can choose whether they want to or not. It's not like they're forced to, like, hey, we're going to buy you and you got to work for us. Like, they have a choice in that. So, that's just my take on it. I think this deal will go through. Of course, Sony's, stands the most to lose out of the deal. And I mean, we'll see what happens. Like, maybe they won't make Call of Duty exclusive. Maybe they see how much money Call of Duty generates and, they want some of that, Microsoft does. But at the same time, Microsoft also makes a lot of money and they want to get that buy-in of people to come over to their system as well, to build up the Game Pass subscription service. So let me know what you guys think below, and I'll catch you on the next video.